Hi guys.
Good morning, good morning.
Of course, I am Ursula Thomas,
And I'm Jim Thomas.
and we got up this morning to come see the sunset. Actually, it was my husband's idea last night, and I'm surprised we woke up because I woke up, I guess, about 1:30, and I really couldn't sleep. I had so much going on, so much on my dome, on my mind, I couldn't sleep. And mosquitoes everywhere. And so, of course, I didn't wake him up, literally, but I woke him up. You know what I mean? By me moving and getting up and stuff like that. So he said, you want to get up in the morning, go see the sun? Well, actually, he said it yesterday. And I was like, oh, okay. And so he said again, he's like, you want to get him go see the sunset? And I was sunrise, sunset. And I was like, yeah. So we came out here, and this place always put me in such a peaceful, oh my gosh, it just really shows me the glory of God and who God is. And I absolutely just love it. I love it, love it, love it. And it blesses me every time I come out here, especially early in the morning when, people out here, they walking their dog, they exercise, and you can hear the geese, you can see the birds. I mean, we seen the deer running. I just love it. But anyway, so I was like, you know what? We can do a video.
Yes,
So,
we can do it this morning.
We're going to come on this morning. I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to talk about you can't heal what you hide. And so that's what you were seeing in the picture when you seen us holding those signs saying beware of this or danger, don't go back, is because that's what we allow ourselves to do. We allow ourselves to hide behind the darkness and the mask of the hurt and the pain and the frustration, to the point that when someone, even not just our spouse, someone in general, try to get behind that, we have that face for them, but when we try to get behind that, we fringe up because it's like, no, we can't let you hear this part is for me to protect from you. And that's a dangerous place to be, especially in a relationship, in marriage, in a relationship, because you have all kind of relationships. You have friend girls relationship, best friends relationships, but especially in your marriage. And see, we like to tell you guys practical things to do that will work for you in your life, because you want to be free. You want to be free. If like my husband made a statement one time, and he talked about being partially healed. You don't want to be partially free. You don't want to feel like, oh, I'm so free with my friends, I'm so free with this, but then you come home, you frigid. Why are you not free with your husband? If you feel like you have a certain degree of freedom with your friends, you know what I'm saying? Oh, but that's my friend, I can tell them anything. But if you're in a relationship with somebody that y'all supposed to be one, and y'all really can't sit down and talk, and you be vulnerable and you tell them things, that's what makes you grow. When you tell them things, it makes them understand who you are. So then it won't be so easily to get angry with you and get upset with you. They can help you grow out of that by loving you out of that, having compassion for you out of that. Because we all get to a point where we have to say, okay, I understand what happened, but you know what? Enough is enough now. It's time for you to grow. It's time for you to let that go. And so when you try to hide that, you're not allowing God to come in to heal. And see, God can use my husband, which he does all the time, to heal me. It's so many things that my husband does for me, even little small things, that brings healing to my soul, to my spirit. And it helps me to look at him And I really had to learn how to do this and see the man of God in him. And it really helped me to love him outside of his faults, his fears, and his failures. Because it helps and allows me to see the man of God and who God is truly creating him to be.
Yeah, I guess, when me and my wife talk about that's how two becomes one, and that oneness, and see when that oneness shows up, that oneness knows. The oneness knows how to deal with whatever's going on. And I think what really happens in a lot of relationships is that there are things that we can tell our mom and our dad that we can't tell our husbands or our wives. That, hey, I'm married now, that I got some things going on inside the house. I can go back and I can tell mom, I can tell dad, and so I can get their opinion, and that thing can help me.
Oh, and hold that thought, because I don't want you to feel like what we're saying is you can't have friends or confiding friends. That's not what we're saying, because the Bible said it's good to seek good godly counsel.
Yes.
But what we're saying is don't try to hide so much that at some point you need to come and you need to share that.
Don't hide the intimacy that's in your marriage when it comes to you and your husband coming together, growing in some intimate things, some real intimate things. And sometimes intimate things can even have some people in an area of feeling shame before they come to the realization of what oneness is. Growing up with different mindsets and different understandings, what's my real job as a man? And I remember a long time ago, I think when we was in college, and I know I heard God's voice, and I thought I understood it, but now I understand it even more, where my wife, she can handle the finance better than I can. I was raised up where I seen my dad every Friday. He would come home and give my wife the paycheck.
Your mom.
Give my mom the paycheck. So now I have never had a problem with trying to hide money from her, what I don't have, what I do have, whatever, and she wants something from me or whatever. I better go to my wallet, vice versa. Now I grew up seeing that. But so many times now I see in marriage and stuff, and say, hey, this is mine, that's hers. And then as I grew into marriage, I understand, hey, that's how two becomes one, because everything that's about me that I have is hers. And everything that's about her and she has is mine. And you have to really get into a concept of really understanding marriage, from the smallest to the biggest. And the thing I say again is that one thing bring this forth is communication.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that hey, and a lot of times we say, put God first, put God first. How do I put God first in my marriage? I need to communicate with the one that I'm married to. My like and my dislikes, what I believe and what I don't believe, what I desire and what I don't desire. And you formulate these things, and it's just amazing. From things that I used to not even like that I love to do now. I know for a fact when me and my wife, we get up and we go work out more in the mornings and stuff, and time passed. That was not so true. And the things that she loves, guess what? Like going shopping, going to thrift stores and things of that nature. Man, I've actually gotten an eye for clothes, sizes and trends and what's trendy, and I sit back and watch her, and now, I mean, I've gained some knowledge in that. That's the same way as when you go to church. Looking at some of your leaders and stuff, you gain knowledge through their experience of how marriage look, and how not to look and things of that nature. And I remember this man saying, if you ever want to know what a man is all about, look how his wife look. Look how she dressed. And if you ever want to know what a woman's all about, look at her husband. See, is he nurturing to her in public? See that he have eyes for her in the public. This tells a lot.
It really does, because I feel like a lot of times, people say, well, I don't know nothing about or have a preconceived notion what they feel like they know about being a wife or being a husband, because you've never been a wife or a husband before, like a parent. If you first time having kids, you've never been a parent before. But you have to leave room in that thing for growth. You have to leave room in there for God. You have to have God in there, because that's the only someone who can really truly teach you what He wants and how He develop it and how He see your marriage to be, and not how we want it to be. And if we listen to, you can take practical steps of what you know is good, of what you've seen, but then you have to find a way to develop your own. Because in the end, He's not his father and I'm not his mother. So we can take practical things from what he saw and practical things from what I saw, and that can be somewhat how we come together. But we still have to know that we have so much more than that, because we have to develop who we are. And even with our daughters, in their marriages, they can take some practical things from us. Well, I know Dad did this and I know Mom did this, and this is practical. But I got to go to the next level for my marriage. So you see what I'm saying? You can't just be like, well, that's how my mama did it, and you're done. Or, well, that's how my daddy did it, and you're done. Because 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you, your mom and your dad was hiding some hurt that they didn't allow to get healed. And I think that's one of the things. And believe you me, we ain't perfect. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? We still have to use our own practical things that we talk about.
Yes.
But
this is a practical thing right now. Hey, we up early this morning, and we see God. We see people. We're out. That's practical.
And see, the thing of it is that you should want to ever be evolving and finding ways to enjoy, and I really believe that, enjoy the person that God has given you. You should take, I remember sharing one time, somebody said, they asked me, what do we do? I said, we'll get in the car and we'll ride, but the ride just won't be a ride for us. And a lot of times in the ride, we'll talk, we laugh, we talk about life, we talk about situations, we talk about circumstances, we just talk. And we watch somebody walk by. We just talk. So the ride don't just be a ride for us. It becomes a way of communicating. And we communicate.
And communication actually heals. And it's been times that we've gone places and just jump up and go places. And before you know, I guess we get into a conversation of healing, and where some honesty has to come forth.
Yes, and I love it when that happens.
Some honesty has to come forth. And did this happen? Did that happen? How you feel about me? And how you feel about this? And how you feel about that situation? And that's the mindset that I use now. Every time we get up and go places, stuff, it's a form of communication, but within that communication is healing. And we truly, I truly, and my wife truly desire, we invite God in this thing. We really invite God in this thing, because we want to have not only our marriage to be successful, we want to be healed, totally healed. So therefore, when that total healness take place, it's not a problem for us to tell others how to become totally healed. Totally healed. And when we say totally healed, we mean we works with the mind, the body, the soul, the spirit, your will, your intellect, your understanding. Because sometimes what happens is that our understanding be so off. Yeah. And sometimes, you know how some people's in their marriage, their understanding so off, man. But man, I know this to be true. I know this to be a fact. I know this to be the fact. But then you want to allow your marriage to evolve. And when you don't allow your marriage to evolve, growth stop. Your marriage should never stop growing. Mm-hmm. Just like a man should never stop telling his wife, "I love you. You're cute." You're whatever expression that you use towards her to elevate her, mm-hmm. to make her feel good about herself, mm-hmm. to encourage her, mm-hmm. to strengthen her. And of course, I know for a fact that since we have modern technology, some mornings after I leave, my wife is in bed and sleep or whatever, we have this Marco Polo, and you know,
they have Marco Polo, they have FaceTime.
Yeah. And I get on there and I actually pray for her, and I actually speak into her life. And I think that's another thing that has really strengthened me as a man, as a husband, is the power of words.
I really want to get up into the power of words. I really, because I feel like a lot of times we are so dismissive with our words. But I really, eventually, as God leads us, really want to talk about the power of words. But yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we really want you to understand that if it's something that you're hiding, and we all hide stuff, you know, we all have moments where at that moment we just don't want to talk about it, and that's fine. But if it's something that's pressing you, eventually talk about it and ask God to help you. So, you know, I have found as a woman, a lot of times what we do is a lot of times we'll be mad at our husbands for something, but we really won't share the root of what we're really mad about. But we have the action that we're mad, but we won't talk about what we're really mad about. And a lot of times we feel like, you know, I've said this before. I've done this before. I said this before. I've done this before. I said this before. I've done this before. But then we have to think about it. Okay, I said it before, but did I put some prayer behind it that time? I said it again. Did I put some prayer and a demand on it? Because especially we are believers in Christ, the Bible said, whatsoever we claim or we proclaim, we decree and we declare, it shall come to pass. And sometimes you have to find creative ways to try to help encourage your wife or help encourage your husband. And sometimes they might flop, and you might get a little sad, you might get a little frustrated. But then you can't stay there.
Amen.
You have to bounce back up and say, okay, you have to, it's almost like you really have to let the good outweigh the bad. And when you get like that, start thinking about the good things. Start thinking about the good qualities in her. Yes. Start thinking about the good qualities in him. And then say, okay, well, let me see if it's another way I can do it. But you can't just be like, oh, well, I'm just, because when you get to that part, you really are allowing the enemy to come in more than he should be allowed in. Because when you get to that part, like, you know what? That means you are in a state of, I just want to give up. I'm tired. I don't want to do it no more. Or you start talking, oh, I ain't never gonna get it. I ain't never gonna do it. I ain't gonna this, I'm gonna that. And you know, sometimes
that's a form of self-imposed curse. Mm-hmm. We can self-impose things on ourselves and not even realize it. Mm-hmm. Because we've been conditioned in this Western mindset that we feel like we can say anything, we can have anything, we can do anything. And that is not so. When you line your life up with the word of God and stuff, I don't desire to do anything and have this and have that. I want everything. And how many times we say this? I want what God has for me. So therefore, what do God want for me out of my marriage?
And ask him.
Yeah.
Ask God.
Because I know one thing I would never say with understanding now. Ooh, that my wife makes me sick. Oh, I can't stand her. Oh, I just hate her. Now that thing become a reality to you in your saying. So is a man thinking, so is he. So whatever you're saying, somewhere in there you thought about it. Now you have to go back and try to correct what you're thinking. Mm-hmm. It's such a habit base now. And when he does something or she does something that looks the same way, ain't nothing changed. He just make me sick. I can't stand him. He's mama's boy. It is so many things that you can say about your marriage to void out a healthy marriage. And there's so many things that you can say together that can produce a healthy, growing, vibrant marriage. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that oftentimes I say that when I'm not understanding, or even when I get into my little feelings, and I push back things that I know that will bring anger, that will bring some harsh words back up. Mm-hmm. I shut my mouth, take a deep breath, and think about what I'm saying. And God gives me something. The Holy Spirit would always give me something. Think on those things that are good, that are pure, that are innocent. And I just love this because I really believe that God birthed this in my wife. And that thing has just resonated within me, is how two becomes one. So therefore, even when I'm not around my wife, I'm still that oneness with her. So therefore, when my wife is not around me, she represents me. I was talking to this person and stuff. I said, and he was just talking to me. I said, you know, you represent your wife. I said, she's right here. He said, no, I wish she was here to hear this. I said, you're the pastor of your house. You're the priest of your house. So you take this word back to her. I said, that's how two becomes one. Because if this word helps you, if this word increases you, if this word elevates you, then guess what? It'll do the same thing for her. Now you take it back to her. I'm just a messenger. And in the process of me being a messenger, how many times have I failed before I got to that process of being that messenger that really truly believed that? And then I had to walk in that thing. I oftentimes say, you got to learn how to operate in this thing. You got to walk this thing out. Mm-hmm. So having a successful marriage, everything ain't gonna just happen overnight, because you always got to die to certain things. Mm-hmm. You got to die to certain ideas. You got to die to certain beliefs. You got to die to certain things. I used to do things like this. Yes, but you wasn't married then. I used to go to these places. Yes, but you wasn't married then. Well, you used to hang with so-and-so. Yes, but you ain't married then. You got to get out the old mindset, and you got to take on a new mindset. And every time that you deal with your wife in situations, your kids and circumstances, even when you deal with people's outside of your house, you know what? You still have to take on another mindset. And that part can, guess what? Then you become oneness with others. In the areas of being one of your, we say, hey, how can I be my brother's keeper? And I know that he's messy and he's messed up and he's all out of whack. God said, just pray for him. Mm-hmm. Pray the same things that you would pray in your marriage for them, and stand on that thing for them. See, oneness is so creative. And so, and we can't be, that's why we don't want to be selfish in the area of talking about marriage as how two becomes one, because you know what? Marriage is so creative.
It really is. And you should always be creating in your marriage.
And when you create things, guess what you also do? You're the solution to the problem. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, guess what? God has created a lot of marriages to be solutions to others' problems. So I didn't go through it because I didn't go through it just for me. I went through it for, guess what? A multitude of others. And that's all I got to say.
And so
this morning.
And so I'm getting to the point now, I'm ready for some coffee. And so plus I want to go this way and look on the other side of Chevy Farms. And so we just encourage you, if you're hurting in an area that you have not released or let go or even shared with your spouse, we encourage you this day to release it and let it go. We encourage you to sit down and talk about it. Because when you carry that stuff and you hide that stuff, you can't get free from it. It's always like a heaviness, a little small heaviness that'll always be there. They don't want to allow you to break that. My husband told me one time, and it made so much sense to me, and it just resonated in my mind. He said, I've come out of the coma. And so many things within our marriage that, that I desired, I didn't know that at that time he couldn't give them to me because he was in a coma. But then I had to work on myself, because when he began to share with me, I came out the coma. Then I went into a place where, well, I don't need that from you now. I needed that from you years ago and you couldn't give it. But now you want to give it? No, thank you. So then I had to work on myself, and I had to allow God to come in there and touch me to the point of saying, just receive. So when your spouse come to you, don't be critical. Just listen and just receive what they are saying. And y'all come together and actually allow God to come in there and touch both of y'all hearts, so y'all can walk this thing out how God desired for you to walk it out. And you can get a clear understanding of the biblical term, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. And know that two can truly walk as one. Bye.